Throughout the summer, the lectionary is taking us through a cycle of stories telling the saga of David, one of the most complicated figures of the Hebrew Bible. So far, the people of Israel have asked for a king to lead them. God warns them that they will regret this choice someday, but Saul is crowned king anyway. Indeed, Saul turns out to be a disappointment as a king, so Samuel goes in secret to find David and anoint him to be the future king. David became invaluable to the king for his military leadership and comes to love the king's son Jonathan as his own soul. Last week, King Saul, Jonathan, and 2 of Saul's other sons died in battle, and David composed a beautiful song of lament as he grieved the friend he loved and the king he wished he could have loved better. But now, today, the period of mourning for the dead king is over, and it is time for David to be crowned king. A reading from the second book of Samuel, chapter 5, verses 1 through 5 and 9 through 10. Hear now the word of the Lord. Then all the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron and said, "Look, we are your bone and flesh. For some time, while Saul was king over us, it was you who led out Israel and brought it in. The Lord said to you, 'It is you who shall be shepherd of my people Israel, you who shall be ruler over Israel.' So all the elders of Israel came to the king at Hebron, and King David made a covenant with them at Hebron before the Lord, and they anointed David king over Israel. David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years. At Hebron he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months, and at Jerusalem he reigned over all Israel and Judah 33 years. David occupied the stronghold and named it the City of David. David built the city all around from the Millo inward, and David became greater and greater, for the Lord, the God of hosts, was with him." This is the word of the Lord. David was 30 years old when he was crowned king, which is younger than I am now, for those of you keeping track. Some people are just overachievers. He was never raised to be a king, and we first met him as a shepherd. But David's life experiences have served him well to bring him to this point. He knows how to get his hands dirty. He left his father's house to live at court with Saul for a time, so he is familiar with the inner workings of politics. We've already seen that he's good at problem solving, and we also know that he's an effective leader. Even when Saul was resentful of David and wanted him out of the picture, Saul still left him in charge of his armies because he knew that David was good at it. David does another very clever thing in this chapter of our story, although it's a bit more subtle than leading armies into battle. He makes his home in Jerusalem. The nation of Israel is still made up of 12 tribes, and each tribe had lands. If David had made his home in any of those lands, he would have been seen as favoring one tribe over the others. Instead, he makes his home in Jerusalem, which did not belong to any of the tribes. He has recently conquered the city, and now he is making it a symbol of new beginnings. Even though the first king turned out to be, in many ways, a disappointment, the people aren't giving up on the kingdom. Home is an important and recurring theme throughout many of the narratives in the Bible. People spend generations seeking out a home where they can be free. People long for the homes they cannot return to as they live in exile. A father welcomes his son home after frivolous seasons away. We dream of a new home, a home where justice rolls like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. a home that we will never have to leave, a home where everyone will be welcome, a home where everyone will live in peace, a home where no one will be hungry or thirsty or have any tears left to shed. Home can be symbolic. Being in love can feel like home. Sounds and smells can transport us home. The thought of home can give us the strength to carry on. Over the past 16 months, we've all spent a lot of time in the places where we live. But those places haven't always felt like home without the laughter of friends or the full sink after a dinner party. The feeling of relief when you get home from work and take off your shoes is lost when the place where you live becomes the place where you work and you lose the distinction of personal space. Centuries after David's reign had ended, there was a period of history called the Babylonian exile, when the people of Israel were scattered far from home. The stories of the exile have never resonated with me as much as they have during our own season of separation. But at the back of my mind, I have often thought of the words of the prophet Zephaniah. Zephaniah is the third to last book of our Hebrew Bible, and while much of it is a call to repentance and reform, it closes with poetry full of hope and with God's promise to call the people home. And so our third reading this morning comes to us from the prophet Zephaniah, chapter 3, verses 14 through 20. Sing aloud, O daughter Zion. Shout, O Israel. Rejoice and exult with all your heart, O daughter Jerusalem. The Lord has taken away the judgments against you, and has turned away your enemies. The King of Israel, the Lord, is in your midst. You shall fear disaster no more. On that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, do not fear, O Zion. Do not let your hands grow weak. The Lord your God is in your midst, a warrior who gives victory, who will rejoice over you with gladness, who will renew you in God's love, who will exult over you with loud singing as on a day of festival. I will remove disaster from you, so that you will not bear reproach for it. I will deal with your oppressors at that time. And I will save the lame and gather the outcast. And I will change their shame into praise and renown in all the earth. At that time, I will bring you home. At the time when I gather you. For I will make you renowned and praised among all the peoples of the earth, when I restore your fortunes before your eyes, says the Lord.